Dirty. Yeah, welcome to Fun and Dirty. That was an extra special long one for all the playoff peeps out there, winners and losers, defending champs and new contenders. Welcome to Fourth and Dirty, the first and only community-driven fantasy football show. I am your host, JW, but you can call me Jesse. You know, for doing business. I don't know, damn it, the thing went back to being blurry again. I can't touch the camera and stuff, guys. This is episode number 20 of season 6. It is December 17th, a week out from Christmas. You can check us out on the wonderful fourthanddirty.com. That's your central hub, especially if you are in one of our custom playoff leagues. But all of our episodes, articles, leagues are all up there. You can email the show at fourthanddirty.com or Jesse at fourthanddirty.com. We're on all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Fourth and Dirty. If you miss us live on Twitch, no worries. I get it edited, uploaded to YouTube, at Fourth and Dirty there. If not, you know, maybe you prefer to listen while you're driving in the old Kazar, making a commute. We're on all your podcast players, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, or anywhere you like to upload an RSS feed. We got you, baby. We got you. Please subscribe, like, follow, rate. You have no idea how much it helps, especially with the old subscribers on Twitch. I'm trying to get to 50, guys. If we get to 50, not only does it help me, it helps you. We get to have more episodes available instead of like the one at a time when we're on the weekly basis, or I get to upload videos. You know, maybe we'll get some shorter clips thrown up in there. Maybe some of these drafts that we had, we can go back, put those up there. But we gotta get to 50. 5 zeros. Tell your friends. If you haven't subscribed on Twitch, go ahead, do us a favor, do yourself a favor. Hit us up over on Twitch. Pretty please. I'm shoving on top. It is episode number 231. For those keeping a long count. I see the difference holding down the chat. I like it, sir. Stay tuned for the difference makers. These are Mike's deep cuts. That'll be after the Waiver Wire Circus. But a little bit of show news. You know, we got so much going on this week that we want to make sure we spend some time with the old the playoff scenarios, you know? All right. But for show news, I'm sure many of you are wondering, next episode will, in fact, be on Christmas Eve. That's right. We'll be doing a Christmas Eve special. Hopefully you don't make that shit to bed list right before Santa comes. But we'll be live on the 24th. I think for New Year's Eve, we might move it up a day. We might do a Sensible Monday again, just so everyone can have their New Year's Eve off, including myself. But next week, we'll be live on December 24th here on 8 p.m. on Twitch. Oh, I see Tim Cruz holding it down in this beat. Tuesdays for the boys, as they say. Well, guys, we got a bunch of stuff, jam-packed episode. Like we said, we want to talk about our round one of the playoffs. Whether you're crying or you're trying, we got to find out. We got to find what's going on. So let's get moving along to our NFL news. Love me a good drum roll. Let's see if I get this camera sharpened up a little bit. Hey, I don't know if that's better or not. It's hard. I was, if you want some other show news, I was trying to remotely, like, connect the camera so I could, like, you know, make it, like, focus and whatnot. while I was sitting here, I could like do it on my phone or something. But then it like would throw all of the information over this overlay that you guys are watching, which is not what you want to see. Unless you want to see like what the f-stop is and the ISO speeds and all that fun jazz. I'm stalling because I don't actually have. There's no NFL worthy news, guys. There's no NFL worthy news for fantasy. I mean, there's plenty of news, real NFL playoff stuff like that, but nothing for fantasy. I mean, unless you count Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting cut, maybe not. So let's move along to our injury news.
And I can't get up.
Please, no! 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 No!
I don't know. I think the camera looks crispier now. Yeah, I think I nailed it a little bit. Nailed it. All right, I do have some good news. The difference called it a little bit last week. Officially, Marquise Brown's practice window opens up. That's the wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had a shoulder surgery earlier in the season, so now they're anticipating he could play as soon as this week, week 16. They could use all the help they can get. They are falling apart in Kansas City. But, of course,
No!
we always have bad news.
Get up.
God, please, my leg! No! My leg! No! No! My leg!
Pat Mahomes, if you saw him, he got like rolled up on, has what is being described as a mild high ankle sprain. He's considered day-to-day. I saw earlier he did log a full practice today, so just keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. Spotify wrapped of my terrible fantasy football season. If only I think we could probably do better than the AI algorithms that Spotify did this year. It was terrible. See, now you got me on a tangent, Tim. So Spotify did one for creators, right? For us, they're like, hey, here's the best episode you had. How like the same stats, but like as a creator, right? It didn't even give me the right numbers for how many episodes were uploaded and the number of hours long it was. And I was like, so how can I even trust these other numbers when you can't? There was more than 40. It was more than 40 hours worth of content.
Bruh.
Stupid Spotify.
Got it!
Catch me outside. How about that?
But back for the injury news.
No! My leg!
Running back David Montgomery has knee surgery to repair his MCL. He is now out for the season. I know a lot including me, riding that David Montgomery train, getting him later in drafts, saving us this whole season. So hopefully you got some backups. You can pivot away. Obviously that helps the Jahmyr Gibbs fans and really destroys my That's okay. Running back Alvin Kamara left the game with a groin injury. The difference kind of called this in the prelude with that Kendre Miller fill in there. So pay attention with those handcuffs. Running back Nick Chubb broke his foot. He's now out for the season. Oof. Talk about a lost season for Nick Chubb. Hopefully he can keep the positivity, keep the spirits up, and hopefully we'll definitely see him back next season. Running back Tony Pollard left the game with an ankle injury, and then we saw Tajay Spears step up in his place. Running back Sincere McCormick left the game with an ankle injury, just when the whole fantasy world was hopping on his back. Wide receiver Jalen Waddle left the game with a knee injury. Anyone that wrecked their season? That was me. Jalen Waddle. Wide receiver Alec Pierce left the game with a concussion. QB Geno Smith left the game with a knee injury. Sam Howell stepping in there to fill in for him. Tight end Zach Ertz left the game with a concussion before the game started. Tight end Evan Ingram out for the season with a torn labrum. That's all up in the shoulder area if you don't know. And then I got a couple just smaller injury updates. Whoa, the difference survived with Waddle, bro. He ruined my season in Semantics Listener League. I probably could have maybe made a run. I don't know. Dunzo, son. Dunzo. But a couple updates for some QBs. All right. We got, QB Josh Allen spotted getting x-rays after the game. He was banged up a little bit, and he quote, felt funky. They got an x-ray, came back all good, so nothing to worry there. And then right before the game, it was reported that QB Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles actually has a broken finger in his non-throwing hand, so that's his left hand. He did end up playing the game and had a great game, so I don't know how much it really affected him. But just, something you got to pay attention to these things, guys. You got to pay attention to these things. And then finally, of course, we couldn't leave our news segment without rumors. Bad news, other news, any news that catches my interest. Baggy the Fancy Cat making an appearance behind me. Being a menace lately. There he is back there doing cat stuff. Quarterback Joe Burrow had his home broken into this the week before the game. We talked about this a few weeks ago. The Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce had their homes broken into, and now we see this happening with Joe Burrow. I mean, the NFL put them on alert. It's kind of crazy that their homes can be found now. It's just kind of wild. I don't know if that played into anything with his on-field performance, but just something to note. All right, guys, well, let's get into Killed It or Shit the Bed. Of course, Killed It, brought to you by the one and only Tim Cruise Travel Agency. Oh, I scrolled down because I was actually staring at some of their holiday deals, and I was just trying to read it before the show started. Caught my ADHD attention, but do yourself a favor, go over to timcruise.com. Tim and his team are absolutely great. Look, they got their holiday deals up. Anything you could think of. Irish pub tours, Semantics at C2, Electric Boogaloo. What else we got? This is the ones I was reading down here. Some of these glacial ones, bro. That's wild. I want to go to Alaska. But Tim Cruise is great. Head over to timcruise.com. Fill out the travel inquiry form. Tim and his team will help you out. They also do Disney vacations, Universal, anything you can think. Just about damn near anything. If they don't, then they'll help you probably find the right person. Tim's great. timcruise.com for all your travel needs. We'll getting over to our Killed It and Shit the Bed. It's gonna be a little bit harder to display all this information, guys. So let's see what we can do. I want to start with the Semantics Listener League. That's the big triple threat championship. Coming at number 1 for League One. Again, it's kind of hard to show here, but if we move over to the playoff bracket, Norm was actually taking the top spot with 165.38 points. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's kind of it's hard to look at it. God, see, this is when Sleepy really blowing my shit up here. But Norm taking the top spot with 165.38, and then Travi at 162.88. Are they really not gonna let me look at the matchups here like this? That's messed up. That's real messed up. But you can see the Trav's game here, 162.88. He had Aaron Jones, Jahmyr Gibbs, like I'm talking about, killing me over. Mike Evans, Garrett Wilson, Sam Laporta, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chase McLaughlin, and the Kansas City Chiefs, 23 points. You love to see it. Love to see it. I am actually, am I officially? Yep, I am on the Shit the Bed list for League number 1. As you can see, Kyler Murray, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Cade Otton, Jalen Waddle, Fairbairn, and the Arizona defense just completely shit in the bed, not doing it for me. Ruining my Semantics Listener League season. That's okay. Life happens. Taking a look at our final Killed It for League number 1. We got Ryan, 135.50 points. Jalen Hurts, James Cook, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Lad McConkey, Khalil Shakir, and Tampa defense taking it home. I love to see it. Tommy also moved on in the Semantics Listener League. We'll take a look here in a minute at what happened. I see Norm's popped in the chat. Norm, you are, in fact, our Killed It number 1 scorer on the week across all the leagues. So congratulations, Norm. Remember, you in the Semantics Listener League, top Killed It or gets to ban somebody for the Thursday Night Football game. So good job, Norm. It's a little, again, Sleeper's kind of busting my balls here. They're making it a little difficult to look at what if we go in here? Hey, here you go. Josh Allen, Chase Brown, Derrick Henry, Jerry Jeudy, Devonta Smith, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Aubrey, taking Norm home. All right, we found a way to display it, guys. We figured it out. Looking at our bed shitters, the rest of our bed shitters for league number 1. Kate, 90.94 points. Sam Darnold, kind of letting you down there. Chuba Hubbard, DK Metcalf, Jacoby Myers. Yep. San Francisco D. Yep. That's very unfortunate, Kate. Very unfortunate. I would definitely keep setting your lineups because in the Semantics Sister League, I do, in fact, I try to keep tabs and do a final top 24 ranking, 1 through 24. So basically, everybody gets broken out into like triple threat matchups. One day, if I ever learn to become a real big boy programmer, we'll be able to have all that like live up on the website. Not like once. I don't know, like live, but like, you know, like live. Like you could look it up. And then finally, Tim making our unfortunate shit to bed list for the Semantics Listener League. You know, Lamar Jackson doing the heavy lifting, but Madison, Harris, Kupp, Ferguson, really letting you down there, Timmy. Really letting you down. Let's move on to the Listener League number 2, taking the top spot for killing it, Lee, with 156.98 points. Josh Allen putting up double digit. Well, not double digit. What I was trying to say was Josh Allen's the first QB or any NFL player to put up back-to-back 40-plus point fantasy games. So if you've been riding the Josh Allen train, you're feeling great in the playoffs. Feeling great in the playoffs, baby. But Rico Dowdle, Drake London, Jerry Jeudy, Jonnu Smith, Terry McLaurin, and the Cowboys defense helping Lee continue on to the promised land. Derek is also on our killed it list here, 134.50 points. Good thing this matchup doesn't really matter because remember, we have a free-for-all. Lamar Jackson, James Conner, Nico Collins, keeping Derek going, keeping Derek moving him on to round number 2. And then finally, our last killed it for league number 1, Sean. We're going to be able to show it here, 143.96 points. What do we got here? Jordan Love, Brian Thomas Jr., Devontae Adams, Trey McBride, Breece Hall. Getting Sean to the killer list. Love to see it. Looking at our bed shitters for league number 2, Steve McGutney. Where are you at, baby? I think we'll be able to pull your name out here. Yep. Caleb Williams, Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz, Cleveland defense at 0. Yep. That'll do it. We also have Jason. He made the playoffs, but unfortunately getting bounced here. We'll take a look at that in a second. I think we'll be able to show it. Will we? Yeah, 88.96 points for Jason. Let's see here. Derrick Henry, Sincere McCormick, yep, getting knocked out. That'll do it. Darnell Mooney, yep, we'll be talking about him here later. And the Washington defense. Oof and scoof, as Atom would say. And then our last bed shitter for league number 2, Adam, with a million M's, 89.70 points. Who really let him down here? Oh, yep, Nick Chubb, Jacoby Myers, Tyreek Hill, yep, for sure. Absolutely ruining some people's weeks. Tucker and Baltimore. I mean, that's not you for trusting Baltimore that much. So having looked at all of that, so just a reminder, Norm is our top killed it for the Semantics Listener League, and our bottom bed shitter is, in fact, Steve McGutney with that. I believe it was like a sub 80-something performance. Absolutely ridiculous. Terrible season for McGutney. Terrible season. But if you want to follow along, folks, you can do yourself a favor. Go to fourthanddirty.com. You go to leagues. You click on Semantics Listener League 6, or it's just /semantics. If you want to type it in fourthanddirty.com/semantics, you can actually follow along with our free-for-all Listener League. There's our championship out with the reigning champ, Travi, absolutely dominating. Moving on to round number 2. There's Derek the Hero moving on to our own Atom as a previous winner. Remember, folks, this is a triple threat championship. So every week, we top 50% of scorers will move on to the next round. As you can see here, it's all nice and crispy and updated. Norm, Trav, Lee, Derek, Ryan, and Tommy being our top 6 scorers in that league. I know the sorting here looks a little wonkadoo. One of these years I'll fix it. I'm going to become a big boy programmer. But sorry, Sal, Stevie, Adam, Josh, myself, and Jason all falling off by the wayside. So it's good to see that the defending champ moving on to round number 2. We like to see it. Other than that, it looks like, oh no, these would all be new potential champions. So we got the defending champion and a bunch of, up and comers trying to take it from you, Trav, trying to take it from you. Oh, what's the banning thing, Mike? So in the Semantics Listener League, the top scorer that killed it, so in this case, Norm, who's here in our chat, in that, I don't know how it really started, but what we end up doing is that top killed it is allowed to ban somebody from the group chat during the Thursday night football game. Because that's a pretty active group chat. I mean, there's 24 players in the Semantics Listener League, so there's always something going on every week. But I will get the Semantics Listener League I'll get the website updated for you guys soon. You'll see it here. Remember, top 50% of scores. We move on to that triple threat championship in week number 17. So good luck to Norm, Trav, Lee, Derek, Ryan, and Tommy. Moving on to round number 2. Love to see it. Well, guys, let's keep on keeping on. Let's go with the Filthy Casuals Listener League. Taking the top killed it spot for the Filthy Casuals is Voodoo Man, 170.10 points. Lamar Jackson, Brees Hall, James Conner, Mike Evans, Jameson Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Bass. Hell, I'll take 9 points from defense. Minnesota taking them over the hump there. This is a traditional style bracket, so the combo team of Theron and Mike being knocked out of the playoffs. Love to see it. Coming in at number 2, Evan. He had a first round bye, but 151.24 points there, as you can see in the bracket. We can take a look at his team here. Joe Burrow, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Jonnu Smith, Darren McLaurin, and the Cincinnati defense. Woo! Good thing it wasn't a free-for-all, Evan. Good thing it wasn't a free-for-all. And then finally, Glenn coming at number 3 here with 131.16 points. Jared Goff, 55.06 points. Not to be outdone by Josh Allen, obviously. Rico Dowdle, Jamar Chase, London, and the Philly defense getting Glenn over that first round hump. Love to see it. Looking at our bed shitters for the Filthy Casuals League. My opponent, Jody, 82.34 points. I'm out of the Sacco running, baby. Let's go.
I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get respect up on the street. Under the sun.
For those of you who remember, this was probably the roughest season I had in all the leagues I cared about. Just missed the playoffs at 7-7. Got dumped into the losers consolation bracket, but I beat Jody back-to-back weeks, baby. Let's go! Taking him out. But he shot the bed this week, 82.34 points. Let's see who really ruined it for him. Jordan Addison, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Zach Ertz getting knocked out. Bates, yep, in the Seattle defense with a big old butt kiss. Love it. Love to see it. Moving along, Theron Mike, your combo team also making a shit bed lift at 93.26 points. Kyler Murray, who's really been chapping my ass lately. Devin Achane, yep, Calvin Ridley, Juwan Jennings, Jalen Warren. Yep, that'll do it, guys. That'll unfortunately do it. But you never had to worry about, being in that Sacco contention, so we don't have that going on in the Filthy Casuals League. But who else here? Oh, and then Jake Plow. He also got a first-round bye at the number 2, 96.20 points. So very lucky that you got out of, you got the first-round bye, and then you have one of your worst weeks all season. So that's, very lucky indeed. So you better be hoping and praying for next week, baby. But since we got it up here, let's take a look at our bracket for the Filthy Casuals League. As we saw, Voodoo Man beating the combo team of Theron and Mike. So Voodoo Man will be moving on to meet Evan, the number 1 overall seed, in round number 2 next week. And then Glenn, GDP Crush, beating down our one and only Flaney boy, moving on to take Joe Plow, Jake Plow as he goes now. Those will be our quarterfinalists here. right? Is that how it works? Quarterfinalists. Taking a look at our consolation bracket. Just an upside down inverted pyramid here, guys. Scuba Jake and John got those first round buys. So this is kind of works in reverse. So the losers of these matches. So in this case, Andrew, ooh, that's a close match by like a point. Oof. Falling down, so he'll be playing Scuba Jake here in the next round, and then since I beat Jody, he'll move down to play against John. Two of us will pop out for 7th, 8th. I don't know why they're like 8th place there. Should be 7th and 9th, but whatever. Can't do worse than that, right, guys? Hopefully I'll have a winning season. Worst case, I'll go 8-8 or something like that. But I intend to get this up on the website so other people can follow along. We'll have our past champions and stuff. But since it all naturally resolves here in Sleeper, I've kind of just been leaving it. And finally, before I killed it and shit the bed, let's go and take a look at the home league. These are the OGs. Taking the top spot, me!
I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get respect up on the street. Under the sun, the best, the sun.
Take it down, Evan. Let's go. Sit down, son.
I am the one, the way your son.
Leroy! Let's go, baby. 155.78 points. Josh Allen, James Conner, Taryn McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, Justin Jefferson, taking me to round number 2. And more importantly, out of that Sacco contention. We'll see, guys, because remember, we'll if you're in the home league, we'll talk about here in a minute how you can lose even in these first couple rounds, and you can be moving down quick. But coming in at number 2, Mike. The difference, 151.24 points. Remember, guys, Mike's got a segment now, so stay tuned here in a bit. Joe Burrow, Jameer Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Garrett Wilson, Trey McBride, Devonta Smith, Tyler Bass, and the Denver defense taking him past Theron in that round 1. Love it. You love to see friends taking out friends. That's fantasy football, baby. And coming in at number 3 was in fact Theron in that 135.161 points. Jared Goff, Devin Achan, T. Higgins, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. I mean, great week. Great. 135 is enough to beat most players most weeks. But Mike came in here, took him out. I love it. Theron's also a notorious shit talker, so it's good to take him down. Shitting the bed this week. Steven, 58.94 points. Tua, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Brock Bowers, shitting the bed for him. And then CJ, you did it, buddy! You did it!
I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get respect.
You pulled off what we call the Evan. Sucking ass all season long. Just to get out of it at the last minute. So congrats, CJ, getting your second win of the season. Popping out of Sacco bracket, the shaft as we call it. Getting some freedom. You'll love to see it. Also on the bed shitting list for the home league, we got the other CJ, the new CJ, 98.92 points. Rico, also having a rough season, the champ. Pushing CJ down. Derrick Henry, Jalen Warren, Darnell Mooney. Oh, yep. David Njoku, Addison Dicker. Yep. That'll do it. Pushing the newbie down the bracket. I love to see it, Rico. Love to see it. And then finally on our bed shitting list, I know it's kind of crazy to think that those types of scores, but it's actually Evan at 100.06. I don't know if you can really say he completely shit the bed, but, Ramondre Stevenson didn't show up. No. Naeem Westbrook-Ikine, Travis Kelce. That's been a big disappointment for a lot of teams this year. DK Metcalf, Butker. Cincinnati defense could not save him from me. Can't save him. But if you want to follow along with the home league, that is, in fact, actually on our website. If you go to fourthanddirty.com, go to the leagues tab. If you know, you know. All nice and crispy. But better. See, guys, this is a upside-down bracket. Oh, no. Why aren't some of the scores filling in here? All right, I'll get that corrected. But the It's the same bracket you would see here in Sleeper. Just just tilted on its head. All right, same bracket. So Mike, congratulations for moving on. You'll be playing Andy in the next round, and then since I beat Evan, I'll be moving up to play our one-on-one with Adam, the next OG host of the Fourth and Dirty Cat League over here. That'll be our top 4 teams moving on. But the thing that everyone actually cares about, what we call the shaft, the Sacco bracket, it's the reverse. It's the twisty twist, all right? So as you see here, it crisscross applesauce in the shaft, all right? So since Evan lost, he will be meeting Steven here in this next round. So Evan versus Steven, and then new CJ versus Theron, moving down here into the next spot. So then the losers of that matchup will then ultimately meet in the Sacco here during week number 17. So that's the thing, you lose those last 3 games in a row. That's it, guys. I love it. I love these custom playoff scenarios. They're fun. But you can follow along fourthanddirty.com, TBITSV, if you want the home league, or if you go to the leagues tab, you can also follow along for the Semantics Listener League. One of these days, I'll get the Filthy Casual League updated. See? Found her. Save for Patrick. All right, guys. Well, let's take a look at the killed it and shit the bed for the players. We'll kind of blitz through here since we got. I want to spend more time on our Waiver Wire Circus and our the difference makers. TBD on the title, working title. Maybe if I get a like an infographic, it'll look like mad cool. It'll be like, comes whipping across, all that good shit. Hey, CJ popping in the chat. Love to see it. Lurking in the shadows. Absolutely. Well, guys, let's take a look at Killed It and Shit the Bed for the players. Let's start off with those QBs. Josh Allen taking the top spot. Like I said, first fantasy player with back-to-back 40-point weeks. If you could believe it, it still only puts him at number 2. But we got New England and the Jets coming up. I see no reason for this train to fall off anytime soon. Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, and Baker Mayfield rounding out our top 5. Jared Goff having a hell of a season. He's got Chicago, San Francisco. That looks pretty good. Lamar Jackson, he's our number 1 QB. He's been a lot more consistent in this season. We love to see it through 5 touchdowns this last week. 5! And they all went to everybody but Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry. Love to see it. Houston Pitt could be tough. Those late divisional matchups, always interesting. The old man Rodgers, I called this one last week. He's probably going to have another good game against the Rams. And then it'll probably fall apart against Buffalo, but you like to see it, Baker Mayfield, one of the fantasy finds of the season. Dallas, Carolina. Keep rolling them out, baby. Keep rolling them out. Looking at our bed-shitting QBs, we got quite a few of them. You know how they do, guys. You know how they do. Special shout-out to Jameis Winston over here, Mr. Crab Legs himself. It had to fall apart eventually, guys. You can't expect that type of pressure and consistency from him all the time. It's insane. Cleveland's already implied that they're not even implied. Stated is the correct word that Dorian Thompson is going to be playing next week, so don't be playing Jameis Winston if you can help it. Looking at some of our other bed shitters, Brock Purdy, he's all over the place. We got Miami, Detroit. I could see better in Miami. It's good weather. Like to see it. But Tua's not playing well himself. Finally coming crashing back to earth against the Houston defense. Houston's playing pretty well, guys, so it's not completely unsurprising. San Francisco, Cleveland coming up. Those are all good matchups. I think you're gonna, if you're in that situation and you're still rolling 2 out there, you got to do it. I definitely would not be starting this guy, Kirk Cousins. He's donezo. Giants, Washington come up. Those are not easy matchups, so I wouldn't be looking at Kirk Cousins too much. Rather disgusting, guys. And then finally, I wanted to call out specifically Kyler Murray. Just falling apart here. God, we got Carolina. Should be a good matchup. The Rams, not the best, but we can see it. The new Call of Duty. It came out, and the guy disappears. Horrific. Moving on to our running backs, taking the top spot, James Conner. And I think that's why Kyler Murray had his down week this week. You know, when you get 2 rushing touchdowns, when Murray could be sniping those, you love to see it. 110 rushing yards on 16 carries, 5 for 5 through the air for 28. Carolina Rams, like we talked about. I mean, you're going to fire up James Conner. Jahmyr Gibbs, James Cook, Chase Brown, and Tajay Spears rounding out our top 5. Gibbs can make a play to be the number 1 running back by the time the season's done. Guess I got that wrong. You know, what's crazy is how much more points he could have had if David Montgomery wasn't there. Dan Campbell has already said that they're going to have to watch Jahmyr Gibbs' workload. He's not that type of running back, so pay attention. Chicago, San Francisco coming up. Love to see it. Same for James Cook, having a bit of a bounce back. You know, if Josh Allen's not stealing all of the rushing touchdowns, this is the next guy. New England Jets coming up. Should be a good matchup. Chase Brown being sneaky, like we talked about. Now I'm in the top 10. Top 10! Cleveland, Denver coming up. We talked about Tajay Spears come up here in the waiver wire circus, filling in nicely. Just all that garbage time work. 6 for 87 and 1. But with no Tony Pollard and Indy and Jacksonville coming up, those are great matchups. Looking at our bed-shitting running backs, special shout-out to Alexander Madison. Where'd you go here? Oh, I love this. 0.4 points when you got 7 touches for 21 yards, 4 targets, and you only converted for 2 for 3 against Atlanta. Ya butts. I don't know. I don't know if we can even trust a Raiders running back at this point in the season. It's not good. It's not good, guys. It's not good. Moving along, Najee Harris shitting the bed against the Philadelphia Eagles. They got a pretty vaunted rush D, so pay attention. We got Baltimore, KC coming up. The KC matchup is going to be tough, but divisional cold game in Baltimore. I could see Najee Harris getting some bounce back work. Who else we taking a shit on this week? Tyrone Tracy Jr. I don't know. You know, the rookie's been having quite a season here with Devin Singletary, but Devin Singletary going on and getting the touchdown this week. So, you know, that's New York Giants football for you. Atlanta, that's a tough matchup. And then Indy should be much better. So, I don't know. You know, definitely a player to look out for next season. You know, pay attention. If the Giants make some moves on offense, he could make a showing. The combo of Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, they're kind of eating into each other's workload. The Chiefs are still easing Pacheco back in. It's kind of a rough game against Cleveland. Cleveland was kind of, you know, like, I know the score doesn't imply it, but they were kind of hanging in there. And then Derrick Henry, oof and scoof after the bye against the Giants. Would it surprise you to know that the Giants have a top 10 rush defense? They got Pitt and Houston coming up. Not the best matchups. These are all tough matchups against the rush. But it's King Henry. What, are you going to not start him? Let's take a look at our wide receivers. Killing it this week. Devontae Adams vaulting himself up almost to a top 1 wide receiver these last few weeks after the bye. We got Rams Buffalo coming up. I like that for Devontae Adams. We see kind of him overtaking Garrett Wilson. Mike Evans, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the rookie Brian Thomas Jr., and Terry McLaurin rounding out our top 5. I see a lot of Mike Evans in our future. They've got 3 games to try to get him to the 1,000-yard mark. I think he has to average something like 85 yards a game to make that happen still. So, God, love to see it. I'm on Raw, I believe, getting a bounce back. Yeah, getting the bounce back. 3-game slide. We like to see it. Chicago, San Francisco coming up. Hopefully, he can keep going for us. The rookie, man, he's had quite a prolific season. Look at all these double-digit targets. Love to see it. Vegas, Tennessee coming up. Should be great. Terry McLaurin. Philly, Atlanta coming up. I mean, not the best matchups, but scary Terry. You gotta get him out there. We're gonna talk about it in our like the roast, year review when we kind of Look back. For the first time ever, I got my bia correct and my na wrong. Normally, I've got it flip-flopped. Like, I always get my nas correct, and I'm 1 year too early on my bias. But we've got some special bums down here. Darnell Mooney, absolutely bageling you on the one target. Disgusting. What happened, Darnell? He was if you believe it, a top 10 wide receiver at one point, falling off the wide receiver 2 range, and then falling off again. Kirk Cousins, you're killing me, bruh. You're killing me. They got the Giants, Washington coming up. Not a good matchup. Amari Cooper, also on our bed shitting list. Nothing. No targets. 0. Zilch. Nada. Shut down against Detroit. We got New England Jets coming up. And then Cooper Kupp. Amari Cooper Kupp over here. Also shit in the bed. 3 targets. What? Puka Nakua is what? All right. We got Jets, Arizona. Those should be good matchups. I like to think we're going to see better days for Cooper Kupp, but this is brutal. We've got 2 bad weeks after coming back from the injury. Oh, man. Maybe it's catching up to him finally. Looking at our other bed-shitting wide receivers, Naeem Westbrook-Ikine. I think we can, the hot streak's over. You know, Will Levis has fallen off. 2 points this week. That's back-to-back weeks of just absolute garbage. Indy, Jacksonville. I mean, like, the matchups scream opportunity, but now that the hot streak's over, now I don't know if we can trust the Tennessee Titans over here. I don't know if we can trust them. And then finally, Tyreek Hill on our bed-shitting list. If you've been putting up with this all season, you're finally like, oh, my God. I maybe we got Tyreek back, with Tua playing better. No Jalen Waddle. Nope. Got 7 targets, turned into a stinky 2 for 36. Gross. Got San Francisco, Cleveland coming up. I mean, like, the San Francisco matchup should be good at home. At Cleveland in the colds in December? Nah, I don't know. That could be rough. Could be rough for Tyreek Hill. He might end the season as a wide receiver 2 if he's lucky. What could have been? Looking at our tight ends, Jonnu Smith, his teammate taking the top spot. He's catapulted himself up to the number 4 tight end this season. I think this is really a lot of what's happened. Look at these 11 targets for Jonnu Smith. San Francisco, Cleveland coming up. I mean, those are good matchups for tight ends. So, I mean, I guess we got to keep rolling Jonnu Smith back out there. I mean, what else are we going to do, guys? Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, Brenton Strange, and that's right, Josh Wiley from the Tennessee Titans, rounding out our top 5, because that makes sense, guys, right? Sam Laporta, God, now he's going to be a top 10 tight end. It's just the roller coaster nature of his season, and it's not going to feel good. In the home league, I had him as a keeper, and I dropped him. I just let him go. I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't keep riding this train. Chicago and San Francisco coming up. Should be okay. I just don't know if we can trust him. I just honestly don't know if we can trust him. I'd much rather trust Trey McBride, a number 3 tight end this season. Continues to dominate. Look at all these double-digit targets. Still not a single receiving touchdown on the year. Absolutely bonkers. It has to happen eventually.
Bruh.
It has to happen eventually.
Eventually.
Carolina Rams coming up. It's got to happen eventually. All right. Moving on to our bed-shitting tight ends. Cade Otton. This is who I ended up dumping old Sam Laporta for in a league. But Cade Otton's kind of fallen off the last few weeks, especially after the bye. I think a lot of that has to do with Mike Evans coming back. Not sure we could trust him. Dallas, Carolina. I mean, those are okay. It's okay. But, I mean, we went from double digits, high single digits to now low single digit targets. That's not looking good for Cade Otton. Not looking good. Travis Kelce also on the shit the bed list. He's going to be one of the busts of the year for sure. Even though it's still somehow going to be tight end number 5, right? Ridiculous. Houston and Pitt coming up. I mean, those are tough matchups, especially for Kansas City, where that home stretch in the AFC could be tough. I would like to think the veteran is probably someone who can come on here a little bit late, but those are not the best matchups, bar none. Kyle Pitts, shit in the bed. This has been another started off kind of hot here. You know, we had some usable weeks and then completely fallen off with the rest of the Atlanta Falcons. Brock Bowers, the rookie sensation. I think it's a lot to do with the Atlanta defense, but back-to-back weeks with some bed shits. I don't know. Maybe it's falling off here. Jacksonville's a much better matchup. So is New Orleans. So as long as we can get a healthy quarterback out there, God forbid, maybe we can get something. And finally, Hunter Henry. Just kind of wanted to call him out. Where is he? You know, when you put him on our waiver wire circus, you got to call up the bed shits. 4 for 4 for 25. That's not good enough. All right, against Arizona. Buffalo, at Buffalo. That's going to be a rough matchup. All right, guys, so let's get into our waiver wire circus. All right, per the usual on the old ESPNs. Trying to hunt down, it's the largest platform, trying to hunt down QBs that are 60% rostered or less. So looking at this week, I'm going to roll out Aaron Rodgers again after the good week. 43% owned, probably a good chance he's out there. Got the Rams next. We've been seeing a lot of barn burners with them. Also take Matt Stafford on the flip side of that matchup. Looking for a barn burner at the Jets. Who else we got here? It's not my favorite. A little bit of homer. Anthony Richardson. We got Tennessee coming up next. He's probably going to get you a sensible 14, 15 points. And sometimes that's all you need to survive out here, baby. And then finally, a little bit of a deeper cut. Cooper Rush, 6% owned. We got Tampa Bay next. That's not the best defense. So as long as his offensive line keep him upright, I can see it. Moving on to our running backs. If I haven't told you by now, you probably ain't listening. Handcuffs! We do have some higher priority ones this week, obviously, with the likes of Alvin Kamara going out. Kendre Miller is going to be a top option. I think he's going to be on our next page here. But looking at like Tajay Spears, 43% owned. If he's taking over the backfield. Got Indy next. Should be a good matchup. Jerome Ford, now that Nick Chubb's out, immediately stepped up to it. Cincinnati, that should be also a good one, but Cleveland does kind of suck a lot. So I can see Cincinnati defense kind of piling on there, stacking the box. And then finally, Kamani Vidal continues to put some work in here for the Los Angeles Chargers. I know it's not amazing depending on your scoring format, but he keeps seeing more and more snaps working up. Pay attention. Denver's going to be rough, but just something, this might be a more longer-term grab, especially if you're in those dynasty leagues. And here's Kendre Miller, 8% owned in ESPN. Love to see it. Green Bay next. Could be tough, but somebody's got to get to work. Moving on to our wide receivers. We got to go scrolling far to get to 60%, guys, but not a lot down here. I'm going to keep rolling out Quentin Johnston for the Los Angeles Chargers. They've been passing a lot lately. Even with Lab McConkey back, I love to see it. 7-10 targets. Denver's going to be a tough matchup, guys. But we got New England coming up after that. So if you can get through that week, it's going to be a good one. Old man Thielen coming back strong. Got Arizona next. If we can get 7 like that, 6-7 targets again, I can absolutely see double-digit points for Adam Thielen. We got to move on to our next page before we can really get some more. It's kind of rough out here. There's not a lot of players I'd really want to throw my name behind. I think Mike will agree with me on this one. Jan McMillan continuing to get some work for the Tampa Bay Bucks and that high-profile offense. If we can get like this 7-6 targets, get those opportunities, love to see it. Dallas is a half-decent matchup, so you might get something. And it's a bit more of a this is touchdown chasing. It's not my favorite. I'm not a big fan of touchdown chasing. But if Lamar Jackson keeps throwing that many goddamn touchdowns, Rashad Bateman, oof, that's crazy. 5, turns it into 3 to 80 for 2 tutties. I like it. Pitt's next. It's going to be tough, but I can see him getting a long bomb. I can see it. We can see it. And finally, for our waiver wire circus, looking at the tight ends, it's gross. It's always been gross. It'll never not be gross. But Pat Freiermuth continues to get some work here with Russell Wilson. Depending on your scoring format, like here in full PPR, that's double digits, baby. Baltimore very susceptible to the tight end, so I can see it this week. Next, we're going to be looking at the likes of Tyler Conklin. Should be coming back off of the injury. We got the Rams next, and with Aaron Rodgers playing a bit better, I like to see it. These are some deep cuts, guys. Deep cuts. Stone Smart for the Chargers. Doing okay. Okay for filling in for Will Disley. You know, depending on your scoring format, like here in full PPR, that's 8 points. That's pretty good. That would have been like, what, 5-something in half PPR. Denver's coming up next. It's going to be tough, but I can see it. And then Brenton Strange. Strangely getting 12 targets. Jesus Christ. I mean, when you see that many targets and he turns it to 11 for 73, it's kind of hard not to notice. Vegas is a bit tougher against the tight end, but, you know, sometimes you got to get out deep there. Got to get out real deep. All right, guys, let's take a look at our difference makers, brought to you by our community member, the Difference 66. You probably play in a few leagues with him. Let's see what old Mike dug up for us this week. He decided to include, I believe, hold on, I want to make sure, sleeper. These are sleeper rostered percentages. All right, so sleepers are growing platforms, so these are some good numbers here. All right. Looking at our running backs, he also brought out probably the same ones I was looking at. I mean, again, handcuffs. So Tyjae Spears, 46% owned in sleeper. That's the Tennessee Titans running back. Jerome Ford for Cleveland, 42% owned. Kendre Miller, New Orleans, 16% owned in sleeper. Interesting that almost double the difference from ESPN. Looking at wide receivers, you got the Tampa Bay wide receiver Jalen McMillan, 14% owned in sleeper, so probably widely available. Definitely a good pick if you're in like a full PPR league. Love it. Tim Patrick, the Detroit wide receiver, 6% owned, getting another touchdown. He's been looking pretty good. That's another deeper league pick. I love it. Jalen Coker for Carolina, 4% owned. I can see it. He's been getting the work with Xavier able to get banged up. Malik Washington for the Miami Dolphins with no Jalen Waddle. There, no OBJ. That somebody's got to step up with Tyreek Hill, so I like that. Mike, 3% owned. That's a deep cut. That's deep cut. And then for the Dallas Cowboys, Kevontae Turpin at 2% owned. That's a deep shot, Mike. That is a deep shot. I love it. Moving on to our tight ends. Mike's got the difference makers. Ben Sano for the Washington Commanders with no Zach Ertz. It's time for the rookie to step in there. 7% owned. He also likes Brenton Strange for Jacksonville, 7% owned. It's hard to ignore 12 targets. You're like, I hope we can get half of those. 6. If I can get 6 targets with that type of efficiency. Mwah. And again, this is not something normally we do a fourth and dirty, but Mike, the difference, thank you for bringing us some defensive options. We got the Tampa Bay Bucks, 56% owned. The Green Bay Packers, 48% owned. That's definitely a great grab there. I'm surprised they're not rostered in more leagues. And then the Atlanta Falcons, 34% owned. They've had quite a stingy defense this season. So good, you know, at least some positivity for the Atlanta Falcons spilling up there. All right, guys, well, that wraps up our show for week number 15. Thank you so much for sticking with us. This is going to be a good one. Nice, tight, under an hour. I love to see it. That's the type of pace I'm normally aiming for, guys. As always, you can check us out at fourthanddirty.com. That is your central hub, especially if you're in a custom playoff league with us. Fourthanddirty.com. Move over that leagues tab, especially like Semantics Listener League, the home league. Follow along there, see everything that's going on. Sam and Trav have a wonderful show. All those links for the Semantics show are right there. Boom. Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, X. You can email them, show@semanticspodcast.com. You can join Sipping with Sammy Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. That's one of my favorites. I'm an old man. I get up early here. But you can follow along on the, look, the stupid scores here. If it doesn't load, keep trying. Sometimes it's a little wonka-do. I'm not a programming wizard, guys, all right? I'm not a programming wizard. But Fourth and Dirty is your central hub. If you got any questions, you can email the show@fourthanddirty.com. Jesse at fourthanddirty.com. We're on all the social medias at fourthanddirty. That's the number 4, THANDBIRTY.com. If you missed us here live on Twitch, don't worry. I get that bad boy up to YouTube. We're also on all your podcast players, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. We'll be back next week for a Christmas Eve episode. Hopefully you're not on the shit to bed list or the naughty list. I'm hopefully I just like a more personal update. The 4 playoff teams I had, lost 2 of them, moving on to 2 more. Shout out to G, my protege, and our work league. We're moving on to the next round. Of course, the home league, as you guys saw. So hopefully one of those 2 teams will move on to championship week. Good luck to everybody. You can hit me up on the social media at Madonna Jesse, at Jesse Madonna. Guys, keep setting those lineups. We'll see you next week.